Where am I? You might think I'm in some sort of candle shop or medieval library, but nope. I'm right here to answer one simple question. How do candles work? You see them on cakes, romantic dinners, and even those stressful days where a scented candle feels like your only escape. But what really happens when we light a candle? How does something so small produce such warmth and light? Today, we're going to explore everything you never knew you needed to know about how candles work. So grab your favorite candle and let's jump right in. First, let's start with the basics of how candles work. A candle is made up of two key ingredients, wax and a wick. The wax is typically made from paraffin, soy, beeswax or tallow, and the wick is a string, often made of cotton, running right through the middle. But here's where things get interesting. The magic happens when you light the wick. But why? What makes this small piece of string do all the work? When you light a candle, the heat of the flame melts the wax around the wick. The melted wax is drawn up the wick like a straw thanks to something called capillary action. The heat from the flame vaporizes the wax, turning it into gas. And that's where the burning happens. The gas, not the solid wax, is what's fueling the flame. How candles work may sound simple, but it's chemistry, physics, and a little bit of magic all rolled into one. Okay, now that we know the wax turns into gas, let's talk about the flame itself. Where am I? Right in the middle of the science of fire. A candle flame is not just fire, it's a tiny factory of energy. There are actually 3 distinct zones in a candle flame. You may not realize this, but all those colors, from blue to orange, are telling a story. The inner dark zone is where the wax vapor is still cool, and it hasn't ignited yet. Next is the blue zone, where the wax vapor starts to burn completely. This is where the most heat is produced. Finally, the glowing yellow-orange zone is where incomplete combustion happens. The carbon particles in the vapor glow, giving us that warm yellow light we associate with candles. Cool, right? How candles work really boils down to a small controlled fire at work. Have you ever stared at a candle and noticed the flame dancing? Why does it flicker? Is it haunted? No, not quite. But how candles work can help us understand this. A flickering flame is usually caused by moving air. Even the slightest draft can disrupt the steady flow of wax vapor, making the flame flicker and dance. But wait, there's something even cooler if you blow a candle out. Have you ever noticed a thin trail of smoke? That smoke is actually wax vapor that hasn't burned yet. And guess what? If you relight the smoke trail, it will actually reignite the wick. Don't believe me? Let's test it, see? It's like a magic trick. That's the science of how candles work in action. Another question you've probably had. Why do candles sometimes melt unevenly? You know, when the wax builds up on one side. This happens because of something called tunneling. If a candle doesn't burn long enough, the heat from the flame doesn't melt the wax evenly all the way to the edge. So, always burn your candle for at least 2 to 3 hours the first time you light it. That way, the wax melts evenly and you get the most out of your candle. And now you know another part of how candles work. Pro tip: trim your wick to about 1/4 inch to keep your candle burning steady and clean. Trust me, it'll make a difference. Now let's talk about the candles everyone loves. Scented candles. Where am I? In the most relaxing part of this video. Scented candles work because fragrance oils are mixed into the wax. When the wax melts, the heat releases the oils as vapors, spreading the scent throughout the room. Different types of wax hold fragrances differently, which is why some candles smell stronger than others. So there you have it, the complete science of how candles work. From wax and wicks to flames and flickers, there's so much more going on than meets the eye. Next time you light a candle, take a moment to appreciate the tiny fire producing warmth, light, and maybe even a little calm in your day. Where am I? Still surrounded by candles, of course. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on your favorite kind of candle below. And remember, it's not just light, it's science. Until next time, stay bright.